So, very briefly, in our short history, what have we done so far? I believe we've done a lot of things. It's not over yet, by far. But in 2008, June 2008, we delivered the first set of documents covering mainly bilateral voice, which was, I believe, a new topic for the transition to IP discussion. Voice over IP has been around for years, decades, but applied to your own bilateral, you may know. And we've been working on business aspects, technical aspects, and also something very operational, like how do you exchange information between pairs when you need to start discussing this. So it's not all, big picture, high level type stuff. It's also down to earth, pragmatic help we're trying to play. Of course, everything we do is totally public. You can look at the website and download everything, all the documents, all the presentations. You can also provide your feedback, comments. You don't have to be a member to actually work with us, or you're welcome to become members. But what is interesting for us is that what we do is known and used by you guys, and you provide feedback so we improve it all the time. Phase 2, which was actually released this year in June at the ITW, we've improved a lot the Phase 1 deliverables, so still focusing on the existing bilateral and those things, but we've expanded quite a bit the scope of our work. And one of the big things that we have done is working with the GSMA and the IPIA, trying to understand how, for those of us who want to implement IPX, how we could make it work for voice. IPX was originally devised for lots of services and more on the data side. When you try to use the IPX philosophy, if you want, in the voice world, you run into some issues, not all of them technical. There are some issues related to business models, to the way carriers can interact. And we've done a lot of work working with the GSMA on how to address those issues, how to come up with a model that would take into account the requirements of the mobile operators, but also allow a solution that would work in the real world of voice. So we call it Voice over IPX. It was a lot of work and a good approach. This is just an additional model that you can use. We've also worked on 5 or 6 different models that will fit any one of you in the various situations you're in. I'm not going to dwell on the technical aspects of it. Those of you who understand the technology, understand the issues related to transitioning to IP. We come up with, I think, pretty good stuff on that. Offering, again, reference points like a SIP profile. SIP is so flexible you can do whatever you want with it, and if you don't have the same parameters, the same settings, it just doesn't work. So we worked on a single profile for people to use. And we've also worked a lot on the operational aspects, how to migrate, how to operate in a whole IP environment. We're going to do more work on this, things like troubleshooting, fault management, all this. It's different in an IP world than having it. So, transition to what we're doing now, we have started work for Phase 3. We hope to deliver by the end of June next year. A lot more on voice, again, some technical stuff that needs to be revisited or improved. It's very complicated. Going to things like hi-fi voice, which is a new opportunity in the IP world. It's not something you can do in TDM. Working on compression, because in some regions bandwidth is expensive, scarce, so you need to be able to compress this. And again, how do you go about it? Quality of service, which is critical. How do you define and how do you manage quality of service in an IP world? And not just full IP. For a long time, there's still be TDM to IP and IP to TDM, and that is something we need to manage as well. A new topic. It's been on everybody's radar screen for a while, but it's becoming very important to try and address it. writing and addressing in an IP world. Things like enum, a lot of you have heard of it. It's kind of code work, so the issues, underlying issues are very important. How, in this new world where phone numbers and number ranges don't make sense anymore, if you look long term, how do you route, how do you know who to send your traffic to in order to reach the endpoint you want, to use the services that you need to use to deliver to your own customers. This will be very complicated, and we need, again, as an industry to work on, there's no single organization to come up with the perfect solution. Fraud and security. The IP world is maybe not less secure than the GDM world, it's just that there are new threats we need to address. Operational processes, I mentioned already. Very down to earth, but very essential to make it work. In this world, we all depend on each other. And also working on new services beyond voice, traditional voice. We are launching a group working on interconnection and interoperability of telepresence. We call it high definition video conferencing because telepresence is the Cisco stuff. So we're going to start with telepresence. Again, making sure that we move from a world where there are islands of telepresence to a world where they can talk to each other and we can offer to our customers services across networks, which is where the value is. Look at the phone. If when we started the phone, we could only talk to our own customers, it never would have worked. It worked because we could talk to customers on other networks. And it's not okay, so this is not back to the 70s, but it's to try and map out how we picture ourselves working with the rest of the industry. Again, our focus is carrier to carrier. How do carriers interact with each other? How do we interact at the technical level, at the business level, at the operational level? We are not trying to define end-to-end services, retail, etc. Lots of very smart people are doing this. But how do those services work across networks? This is what we're working on. Telepresence was a good example. We're spending a lot of time with the GSMA and IPX to make sure that their ideas on end-to-end will work in the carrier world. RCS is another initiative working on new IMS-based services. At some point, those services will need to work across networks between carriers, so how do we build that? And many more services. So, again, everything we've done and everything we're doing is to the public. You're welcome to join the Action Forum if you want. It only means that you will volunteer to work. The only benefit you get is having your logo in this presentation. It is really volunteer work. But there are many other ways you can contribute to our work. Look at our documents, use them, provide feedback so we can improve them. And if you want to know more, we have an information session this afternoon at, I think it's 2:30 in the Jasmine room, where you can come and talk to the steering committee members and understand more, in more details, what we have done, what we're working on, how it works, and everything. Thank you very much.